Hello. So now that we've talked about this entire hider spawn region, now we are focused on the building that is right next to hider spawn. And it turns out that under ideal conditions, it's actually really common to find hiders in this inside area. And an interesting part about it is I'm pretty sure that some hiders actually do spawn in the inside of this building, right? Right, and so that's one factor that contributes to why it's so common to find hiders in there. But also, this is basically where the hider spawn is, right? When each individual hider spawn, right? Each individual hider spawns facing in the direction of where hunter spawn is, which is, well, that direction. And hence, they face the direction of this building. So it turns out that most likely because of that reason as well, right, it causes some hiders to hide in this room, right? Whatever the reason is, it's really common to find hiders in this room, so we're going to go in lots of detail about it. So basically, the downstairs consists of basically two main parts, right? The outline, which is mainly bookshelves and furnaces, and the center, which is mainly melons and hay bales. Right, we're going to talk about the outline first, right? Remember, the outline is bookshelves and furnaces, right? Really, the whole idea, right, the first thing, is that the outline only goes 2 blocks high, right? It should never go 3 blocks high, for instance, like this, right? This would be way too high up, right? It should never go 3 blocks high. So if you ever see something like that, then it's fake, right? Even for the furnaces, right? It should never go 3 blocks high. So you should easily be able to tell if that happens. So that would be fake, right? As for these bookshelves, right? We're going to start with the bookshelves first, right? We see a square bookshelf like this, it's fake, or a rectangle bookshelf like that, then that would be fake. Over here, right? Notice if you have a rectangle bookshelves, it's fake. Now it turns out over here you actually do in fact have a square bookshelf. So this actually is a real square. Right? So those are all real. The spot you really gotta focus on is if there's a bookshelf right here. Right? Notice how the bookshelves are diagonally symmetrical if you look at it from this sort of view. And so you gotta make sure you pay attention to that. So if you see a bookshelf here, it's basically gonna be fake. Right? And that's basically it for the bookshelves, right? Again, there's a bookshelf hiding here that it would be on top of one of these two bookshelves, which we already know that that would be fake because it can't go 3 blocks high, right? So that's basically it for the bookshelves, right? Now if we look at the furnaces, you can really just memorize the furnaces by the numbers, right? It goes 3, 4, 5. Very easy to memorize, right? 3, 4, 5. And also the furnaces don't even face the same direction, and I don't even think they orient themselves the correct way either. So they might, but you know, whether or not they do or don't, right? Yeah, 3, 4, 5. Makes it really easy to memorize them. As for the flower pots and the cakes on the outline, because you do see some cakes and some flower pots. Really, the only real flower pots, right? There's a real flower pot right there, right? There's one right here. Those are the only flower pots on the outline, right? One there and one there. Should be no other ones. The cakes are all on this side, right? There's a cake there and a cake here, right? Turns out, really, only one of the furnaces has a cake on it. So if you see another furnace with a cake on it, right, this cake would be fake. Right? This is the only bookshelf with a cake on it. There should be no cakes over here like this, or obviously no cake over here. So really easy to just know that. Right? Flower pots, again, pretty easy as we kind of already talked about. Right, so that's basically it for the outline of the room. As for the center, we have melons and hay bales, mainly. Starting with the melons, right? If you look at the melons from this side, right? Notice how you sort of have a staircase of 3 melons like that. With a melon on the top like this, it's fake. Right, a melon right here is fake, right? Disrupts the staircase, so that's how you know it's fake. You should never see a melon on the left side, right? 2 in a row melons like this is fake. 2 in a row melons like this is also fake. Right? Really easy. So just gotta know that. You should never see a melon on top right here like that either. Right? 3 melons in a row, sort of. Now over here, right? Notice how there's actually a flower pot there, right? You could have a melon in this spot, right? This is probably the most common one As if you see something like that, it would be fake. That's basically it for the melons. As for the hay bales, the typical spots to find a hay bale is actually like right behind it, like this, right? Either in one of these two spots. So a hay bale like that would be fake, right? As for hay bales in the front, right? This one's pretty common. You see a hay bale right here. That's really all it is, right? You just gotta know those spots. Notice, right? We do have some cakes and flower pots in the center as well. But there should only be 2 cakes with the melt, right? You should never see 3 cakes, like for instance like this, right? That would be fake. Right? Also, you shouldn't see a cake over here, like this. As for the hay bales, right? You should never see a cake near this cake, something like that, or like this, right? There's no cakes or flower pots behind here either. As for the flower pot, right? You shouldn't see a flower pot right next to this one. Right? There are no flower pots looking at it from this direction, right? There should be no flower pots here, here, or here. So again, really easy. And again, no flower pots behind the sack either, right? And so that's basically it. And right here, you shouldn't see a flower pot on the other side of this one. And that basically just about covers it for the downstairs room. So now we're just gonna go to the upstairs. Right, so for the upstairs, this is a lot less common, right? It turns out you really don't have to check here in an ideal game with Leaper Hunter. You can check this with Radar. So like, for instance, a furnace right here is fake. The anvils are actually easier than you think, right? Basically in the front, you have a diagonal line of 4 anvils, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 4 all diagonal, right? So if you ever see it squared off like this, this, or this, you would know it's fake, right? It should just be a diagonal line of 4 anvils. And the only other thing is that there should only be a total of 3 anvils on top of the stack. So for instance, an anvil like this would be fake, right? You should never see 4 on top. That's basically it, right? Notice how we got some hay bales over here, right? The hay bales are evenly aligned with each other on all layers. Right? So you should never see it like, for instance, like this, right? Notice if there's a hay bale right here, we're no longer evenly aligned, so that's how you know it's fake. Now you do sometimes see that, right? Notice how hiders can even go on the outside over here, so you will sometimes see that, but not super common. Usually it's non-ideal conditions you have stuff like that. Right, going in this room, right, you got some note blocks, anvils. They're pretty nice structures, right? This is a pretty common structure as we kind of talked about, right, these note blocks. The anvils are pretty nicely aligned, so it's not really something I'm going to worry about too much. It's really not that common. And as for up here, pretty easy to memorize. Again, 3 hay bales, 3 hay bales, and a total of 3 flower pots. So you can just use the number 3 there to your advantage. Like for instance, if you see them connecting to each other, they're fake. Or if you see more than 3 in a single group, like that, or even like this, right? You should never see this structure up here. It would be fake. We have some more hay bales over here, right? And these hay bales are obviously just like the previous hay bales we looked at, right? They're all evenly aligned. So if you see that, basically it's disturbed, right? It's no longer evenly aligned, you know it's fake. Sometimes you'll see random flower pots like on the top of this thing. And so this is basically it for this building. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure from this building you can get in, no, it actually can. You can get on top of this tree from that building. So you will actually sometimes see hiders on here. So as you can see, like, they can go right here. So from that building, they can actually get on top of this specific tree. And so this is basically it for this building. Actually, I want to go over the outside block piles, because otherwise we won't go over those in the next videos. Right, so right next to this building, we have a TNT stack. Right, the TNT stack is basically just a staircase of TNTs. Like, if you ever see that staircase structure disturbed like this or like this, it would have to be fake. Like also TNT next to it like this sometimes happens as well. So they're pretty easy. It's just a staircase of 3 TNTs. I'm not going to go over this stuff. Right, I'll probably go over this in another video when I go over the orange tent region. I'll talk about this stuff in another video. But that's basically it for all of this stuff. Right. And another block pile surrounding this building is actually over here. You got the anvil stack. The anvil stack is really just a fish structure. If you sort of look at it that way, it's actually just a fish. So if you ever see 3 in a row, right, that's really what you're looking for, is 3 in a row. 3 anvils in a row is fake. And also, you should never see 2 anvils on top of the stack like that. Right, that would be fake as well. Right, going over here, right, really just got 2 more things. We got these furnaces, pretty easy, right? Should never see that common structure here. So if you do see something like that, it's fake. And also, you shouldn't see a square of furnaces. That would be fake. And lastly, this is the last thing we have surrounding the building. We have these flower pots here, right? There should be a total of 4 flower pots, all evenly spaced out, right? If they're too close to each other like this, or like this, then they're fake, right? Pretty easy to identify a fake one. You'll encounter it as you're coming from Hunter spawn, so it's really easy to spot. And so that basically covers all the contents of this building that is next to hider spawn, right? And so in the next video, we're going to talk about the back right corner, which is basically everything leading to this direction right here. So we'll talk about everything over here, right? Basically, that's what we're going to be talking about next video.